I'm Cole Boozer, and you're watching the 11th Island.
Joining us today, it's an honor to have Cole Boozer on the show. Cole was a former offensive lineman for the DC Defenders, played college at Temple University. Cole, welcome to the 11th Island.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you for coming on, man. We really appreciate it. And congratulations on your recent retirement. You've now done what 99.99% of people will never do, play football at the highest level. So what pushed you to retire at this point in your career?
So I got a concussion when I was in Tampa Bay during camp there. And that was like my fourth or fifth one. And I was kind of like, all right, well, if this ever happens again, my professional career, I think it's time for my future's sake, like to hang up the cleats. And, when I was in Montreal, it just happened. And I knew then I was like, well, it's over, but it's more of a opening up to a next chapter. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So at such a physical position, I mean, all this yearly wear and tear, are you looking forward to just not just your brain, but the whole body being able to recover and stay healthy?
Oh yeah, no, I'm very excited. I don't have to take beatings on Saturdays, Sundays, Fridays, Thursdays, whenever the games were. Also to shrug off probably 50 pounds is going to be nice.
Yeah, that's fair. And to talk about your career there, we'll start with the XFL. So that whole league started with a positional draft. What was that process like?
So I was what's it called? My agent called. He was just like told me like, yeah, like you could get drafted by this. Like New York called me before the draft started, and I was like, all right, cool. Like one of these teams is gonna call me. I'll be good to go. And like I go and like the positional draft goes, and I was just like, am I out? Like, is there no chance of me getting this roster? And they told me there was like a supplemental secondary draft, and so that's the draft I was drafted in. So yeah, it was cool to be drafted because I wasn't in Tampa Bay. That was it.
And with DC, at the time the season ended, you guys were trending up. You were tied for first in the East. How frustrating. We get everything rolling. We're looking to win the division. Now, we got to shut down.
Yeah, I know. It was kind of crazy. We really were watching the news. We're like, oh, I don't know if we're going to continue to play this game, which sucks because no one knew. And the coach said all right, guys, like we're going to send you home, but be ready in 3 weeks because they might just make us or put us in the championship because we were top of the East at that point. But yeah, it kind of sucks, but everything happens for a reason. I hope we would have done a lot. We continue on that streak of wins in the XFL. But
can you walk us through that week when play stopped? What was it like for the players?
So, what's it called? We had practice on Monday, and it was kind of cold, and people were like, blah blah blah. And as we're going to practice, like my buddy tells me, he's like, like the NBA just shut down. We're going to practice. I'm like, why are we practicing then if the NBA is shutting down? That's a much bigger, sport brand at the time. And, they're just like, we practiced the whole thing and then we got back and then our coach called us for a meeting. And at first we were told we were going to play through the COVID. Like we were going to be the only thing on TV, like sports wise. And that ended up not happening, obviously. And then they told us be ready in 3 weeks. And they called the team meeting and, it was kind of tough. Some people didn't know where to go and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, Coach Pep made sure everybody was taken care of.
That's good. Now, when you picked the number 6'9" to go on a jersey with the name Boozer, did you understand how big of a fan favorite you were going to be?
I knew I was going to be somewhat in there, in the fandom, but I didn't know how actually big it got. I had PFT post about it when I met PFT and stuff like that. And that was really cool, especially because he was a DC fan. It was really
That's awesome. Were you hoping for a kickback from jersey sales there too?
That would have been sick. A lot of people messaged me and DM me you got a jersey or something like that. I had a kid ask me to buy my game jersey, which they gave our game jerseys at the end of the season. Wow. And I was that's priceless right there. I can't that jersey.
Yeah, that's fair. And the XFL as a whole there, do you feel like that had the potential to be a successful league and the fluke of COVID really just shut it down? Or was there kind of cracks in the foundation all along?
I think from just the player point of view, like it seemed good. It seemed like a lot of people loved, how everything was run as soon as everything was cleaned up and like, we were winning and stuff like that. But it seemed pretty like logistically safe for us. I don't know exactly after the fact of how it was financially, but it seemed all right.
Now, you spent 2018 in the NFL with the Tampa Bay Bucs on their practice squad. Talk to that experience.
It was really cool. I really did enjoy it. It's definitely a different atmosphere there. You meet like people like Jameis Winston. That's like insane. Mike Evans, like, like dap him up, be like, hey, dude, I work with you. Like, that's so cool. Like, it was for the first week, I was pretty starstruck. And then after that, like, okay, like, all right, well, I'm here for a reason. Like, let's work together and try to win some games here. So it was cool.
What type of lessons were you able to take from that, football wise and maybe even life wise?
From the NFL, just more like you gotta be always ready. Anything that happens, when it comes to injuries, when it comes to just preparing for that week. Like we would have to do all these, we'd have tests every week. Like even if I wasn't playing the game, I had to do a test and I had to do like a player review, a defensive player review. And I had to hand it in so that all the players who were playing could see what I wrote for those certain guys. So like, it was kind of like more of like it's in college, like you time out the way it works, but timing and, getting that stuff. So.
Okay. And now when you were cut by the Bucs too, you were injured. They were going through a coaching change. Was it a really frustrating time with so many things out of your control at that point?
It was a little, but again, it was like, I can only focus on myself. I can only control what I can control. So that was a big thing for me when it came to that. And unfortunately, on the second camp, I like kind of twisted my knee, and that's that. I couldn't help myself after that.
And to go back to your time in college with Temple University, you originally came into school as a tight end and then moved to offensive line. How did that shift come about?
So Matt Rule just left to Baylor, and we have a new coach, Jeff Collins, who's now the Georgia Tech head coach. I'm talking to my tight ends coach at the time. I'm like 270. I was a blocking tight end. Like that's how it was. I didn't really catch any routes, but it is what it is. So he was like, I was talking to him on the phone, like right before, like summer was supposed to start, like to get ready for the season, workouts. And they were like, listen, like Cole, like we want you to keep eating because we might need you to play tackle this year. And I was like, all right, whatever best for the team. So like I put on 25 pounds before my redshirt senior year at Notre Dame on live NBC. I think it's one of my better games, to be honest, which is crazy.
That's awesome.
It's very cool.
Which position did you find the most enjoyable to play? Tackle or tight end?
Depends on so I like it like offensive tackle, like kind of like the I'm working the pass sets, you're not running huge sprints, but you're like usually you're trying to muscle people up and block them and move them where they don't want to move. I think that was one of the reasons why I liked playing offensive tackle. Tight end was cool, but it's kind of tough to for me personally, my skill set didn't fit the catch touchdowns kind of deal. And that's always fun, but tackle was a lot more fun for me.
Okay. And now at Temple too, you spent 5 years there, culminating in the 2017 season where you started all the team's games at right tackle. Now the climate that we're in now, so many players are transferring to different schools. What was so special about Temple that kept you there?
I think it's the culture. And like we had really good guys. Like I had really good friends on the team, and we think we're all going to be successful. And from the guys who you see before went to Temple, like Matt Ioannidis and all those guys, like you play with them and they know there's a standard that culture was set to make sure everyone followed that thing. Now, we ended at 7-6, so but we still got to a bowl game. Like we won our first bowl game in 4 years, or way more than that. But like we've been going to a couple bowl games, always losing. But yeah, I would just say like it was kind of interesting. The culture would be my thing.
Mm-hmm. Now, with the new NCAA rules allowing players to make money off their likeness, what's your opinion as a former college player?
I personally don't think I would have made a lot of money, just because of what I played. But I know it would have been very cool for a lot of people who I know would have made some money and would have been really beneficial to them. My brother plays at Temple University right now. And I'm like telling him, like, dude, take advantage of everything you're talking about, but make sure you know like who you're representing, who's paying you. Like that's your brand. So like just to be safe on that end.
Now, is there anything you think the NCAA could do to make it fair across the board? So maybe players like you were in school would get a fair cut as well.
That's too much money and too much of a projection. If that makes, like you like, what about a guy who I played with who never really played, but you know, you're just saying like, oh, he could have picked something up. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's a too much money, I feel like, and you don't know how far to go back. Yeah, I think it'd be tough.
Okay.
To get reparations for that.
Okay. And now looking back at your football career there, is there anything if you could go back and change that you would?
No, not really.
That's awesome then.
You know, I mean, the concussions, but that's nothing you can change really. It's just, I did it my way and I'm happy the way it happened. And now I can move on into coaching. So.
Very good. And what advice would you give to the player that's still in this professional space, dealing with those CTE injuries and just doesn't know what to do next? What advice would you give?
What not to do next?
No, what advice, just any piece of advice, and they're thinking about what to do next.
Well, I would make sure that, you know, you're thinking with your head in a clear space for your future, whether you're going to retire or not, because I think that it was tough for me at first to say it's over, but thinking farther in the future for my future family and my future kids, it's not worth it to have an insane amount of concussions just to make that you'll never remember, if that makes sense, how bad the CTE is. But I would just say that for them is to use your connections as much as you've been in every league. If you've been in like where I have been, I've connections with a bunch of people who I've, you know, reached out to already, and just from college and pro and stuff like that. And, you know, that's how it starts. So just make sure you're making connections as well when you're there.
That's awesome. Now we like to wind down our interviews with some kind of just fun questions to end it all. So what was your favorite stadium to play in?
Dang. College or pro?
Yeah, any of them. Yep.
College, obviously I love the Link, but Penn State was really loud. It was really cool to be able to play there. And then pro would probably be Baltimore. Baltimore stadium I ever played in high school. We played the Ravens Stadium. It was really cool.
Oh,
That's
cool.
Awesome.
And now what about your least favorite stadiums to play in, pro and college?
Dang. I don't know. That's tough. I don't know. We've had some bad. I can't remember the names, but they've just some sure like carpeted. It's bad. There's some, you know, field you're watching on TV and you're like, wow, that's not a good looking field. Like, yeah, I couldn't and how which ones I'm thinking of, but you know,
that's fair. What's your favorite football memory?
Probably winning the American Athletic Conference in 2016, my redshirt junior year. And we beat Navy 34-6 or something like that. It was something, we were spaced away from them. But it was really cool like that. And then at the end of the game, we're trying to burn clock. And they do a fullback dive to Nick Sharga. And I'm blocking my guy. And I'm thinking like, all right, well, this is going to go for like 3-4 yards, like nothing like crazy. And then all of a sudden I feel like not a gust of wind, but I can like sense someone like right behind me, like a ball carrier sense. And I was like, oh God. And I just like threw my guy this way and tried to just run, like stop him. But yeah, that was like one of my favorite memories, but definitely the championship.
That's awesome.
Now, who is the coach you learned from most during your career?
Like position, like, well, there's two, because I guess you, for a tight end, I would say Ed Foley. He, the guy who recruited me. He's the guy who got me there, and he is. For when I played tight end with him, I was an okay tight end, but I did appreciate all of what he did for me when it came to learning from him and how to do certain things, and to really help. He really helped a lot of people. Great Temple guy, great dude. Professionally, I would say I learned a lot from George Warhop. He was my first offensive line coach. Taught Joe Staley, Joe Thomas. Guy's OG. He knows everything. He was very precise. Like, your foot has to be here. Like, you know what I mean? Like, to be successful. And, unfortunately, I never got to actually play in a game because the staff was on fire the next year. And, I was still a practice squad guy. It was really cool to learn from him.
That's awesome. And now our last question. Is there anything more satisfying than a pancake block?
No. No, the last one I had, there's no way. We ran a fake in the spring league. We ran a reverse, and I was playing left tackle, and I tried to pin this guy, and he ran over the top, and I grabbed him and I threw him across. And my head coach was the whole next day for film was talking to me about that. And then the running back, he was like, "Yeah, Booze, like out of nowhere, I just see this body getting thrown. Like I didn't even see it. It's really cool to do that. That's probably nothing better than that."
That's awesome. And thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate it. Wish you the best of luck with your future career endeavors now that you're done football. And thank you for coming on, man.
Appreciate it. Anytime.